Yes.
We are delighted to have you playing Gustave Flaubert.
Well,
I thought we weren't going to get you, so my obvious first question is, what attracts you to a part? What makes you think this is a part I want to play?
It's very emotional connection for me when I read something. It's never like, oh, that's an interesting part to play. Maybe I should be playing a part like that, having played this kind of part or that kind of part. It's purely emotional. It's an amazing play. It's an amazing play because of the way the characters are drawn and because it's not just a narrative sweep. It's about you sit with people. It's got levels and levels and levels. They are very bright, they're very flawed, they're very human, and it's just, I wish we had many weeks, but I have a question. I have a question for you. So, it's because obviously, I'm sure everyone will know that you are a leading top flight historian. What was it? Because obviously, and I'm sure everyone knows this, you wrote a book called The Europeans, which is an incredible book. And it's obviously it's not about maybe the subjects you've written before, it's about writers. So when writing that, what point did you think, do you know what, this could be something else, this could be my first play? Because, this is your first play. So you might have thought, this comes off the page, this is something that I want to explore more. Or was it just something after you've written the book?
I think it was after I had finished the book that the prospect for me then was to return to sort of Russia. And I thought, oh dear, can't I stay a little bit longer in 19th century Paris? It's so nice there. And these characters are so lovely. So I think it was literally just that, wanting to linger and perhaps malinger. But I think I'm always looking out for, I think throughout my career as a historian, I've always approached material with an eye, not to drama because I want to put it on the stage, but because you have to dramatise history to bring it alive.
Yes.
So I'm always looking for the shape of stories or how stories segue into other stories or how characters develop through history. That's always been a part of my sort of armoury of historical thinking. Yes. But it never occurred to me that I might want to write a play until this was over. The Europeans, I mean. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, so I'm coming up to retirement. I'm 63. I'd always made up my mind to retire at 62 from academic teaching. Really? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I thought, well, why not explore other types of writing? There's other ways to deliver history. And so that combination, I think, of wanting to stay in that world that I immersed myself in for so long, these characters I cared so much about, but, I did literally just fall in love with Flaubert.
What was it about him that you fell in love with?
He has this heart of gold. Yes. He has a real integrity. He is a sort of last of the Mohicans in a way for a cause that you would like to believe in. In other words, writing for the sake of literature. Yes. And because he's a writer who's, I do think Madame Bovary is the best novel ever written.
Yes, it is.
And so you want to know, well, how could this man who was only, a young man when he wrote that, how can I, get closer to this man? And that fascination with him as a writer then, I suppose, bled into my obsession with him as a person, really.
Yes.
And then it fitted so much with everything else I'd written about in the Europeans. The commercial pressures on the writer, the way writers got ripped off by publishers.
Yes.
They still do, actually. The way he was battling against all these trends of commercialism that he detested so much. His own personal crises. All of this just made it a larger-than-life figure for me. Yes. And that meant you had to think dramatically in terms of theatre.
Yes.
I do think that different content and material demands its own form, its own medium, if you like. So what do you do? This is my next question. What do you do to get into that part? And how How does it work when you could go away and read a biography, and you could read his letters, and you could study Flaubert yourself, but then you got this imagined Flaubert that I've given you?
Yes.
So how do you...
Well, it's often to do with the medium by which you're playing the character. So therefore, the play is so complete. The character in the play is so complete. I thought, what I don't want to do, because I also you have to trust the writer.
Right.
I didn't want to go away and read. I mean, for a result, we didn't have much time.
No,
I mean, if I had 6 months, I probably would have reread Bovary and I would have done all sorts of things. But I think that it's going away and going, well, I've just read this massive tome about Flaubert and I've read all the letters and all this and the other. Why isn't this in it? Why isn't that in it? Can I say this instead of that? Can I say... Is not fair on you, because you've done that. You've done all that.
Right.
You've read the books. You've amassed all the information. So therefore, I just wanted to get inside the Flaubert that you had written.
Right.
Really. And and then bring whatever I could to it.
Well, that's what I love about working for the theatre. I've given you the words, and we then play with them a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's then a collective effort.
Yes.
To produce this Flaubert.
Yes.
And it depends on everyone else in the cast too. That's what I love about working in the theatre.
Well, it shows because also the thing is, I've never. This is weird, very strange. Apart from I used to do a lot of Howard Barker, and Howard directed it. I have never done a new play like this. I've never done a new play. I've always done, either classic, almost always classic plays that have been done before. So everyone kind of knows how they work. This is the first time I've been in a room with a writer who is with a new play. So it's...
Does that make it more interesting as an experiment?
It's absolutely fascinating, because we don't know how it's going to come across. I mean, I think it will come across incredibly well, but it's like stepping into the unknown, and I found that unbelievably exciting.
Really me too.
Exciting.
Me too. It's completely unknown.
We've done the same in a way. We're going from we're in the same process.
I guess we are, from different angles, but because for me it's absolutely fascinating to learn how actors assimilate a part, how they work with each other, what lines work, what lines don't, what they're unhappy with, or not. That's absolutely fascinating for me. I'm learning all the time.
Oh, that's amazing. My question is, obviously there are a lot. There's a huge amount of correspondence, particularly between Madame Sand and Gustave. So I was wondering how much of that you used, how much of that you mined, if there were anything in those letters which you thought, I wish I'd had that in the play, or just thought, no, that's too, otherwise, it would have been too long or too involved, but anything that you regret not putting in the play as well?
I don't know about anything I regret, because I don't think the process of using the letters and the reported conversations from the Goncourt diaries is as direct as that. I think that the process of using the letters is more complicated, because you're sort of trying to assimilate the spirit of this relationship, say, between George Sand and Flaubert, and the letters are your way into that.
Yes.
But then you have to sort of sit with this large correspondence as a sort of universe in itself, to draw on the references they might bring up, and to tease out more from that relationship, if you see what I mean. So it's not that you couldn't just cut and paste. I mean, it wouldn't be dialogue. These people have to be alive and speak in place. And so you're just trying to imagine through situations. So the story of this play is the structure of those situations, and then draw from your sort of data bank, your memory of this correspondence over many years, to give a sense of that relationship, or the things that they sort of agree with, the things that they disagree with each other on, the tensions in that correspondence, and so on. So I think it sort of works like that. I
think that comes across, because what's wonderful, what's fantastic about the play is many huge amounts of things which are fantastic about it, but they are pretty robust with each other, yet you never feel they don't love each other.
Absolutely,
which
yeah,
I think
that's
is
important.
such a wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a play about love. It's a play about friendship, but it's also a play about art. It's one of those things you can put a lot of the big topics to, and they resonate. And I think that's what's so wonderful is they can be fairly, but they don't fall out. I mean, they can be not horrible to each other, but they can be really robust. And it just goes because they respect and love each other.
Yes, and they give each other quite a hard time.
They do,
don't
they really
I
do.
mean, poor old Zola gets quite a hard time
really
from you. but he loves Flaubert. I mean, he really loves him and admires him. And so,
he loves Zola. I think he loves Zola.
Absolutely.
As a child, it's almost like a father-son relationship in some ways, but it is that thing of that underlies everything in the play.
Yeah, and I think that's because people used to refer to this group of people as Flaubert Circle.
Yes,
and I think I hope that's going to come across in the play, because it does feel like that, doesn't it? When we're all together, when you and Sand and and Zola all together, and Turgenev, it all orbits around Flaubert.
Yes. This is your first play,
right?
Thank the Lord above you chose this, meteor to do your writing, and it's obviously your first time in rehearsals.
Yes.
So what has surprised you? What has interested you? What have you thought? Oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't know it'd be like that, or I didn't know it'd be like this. What's fascinated you about it?
I think just how the word on the page gets... it's only the beginning.
Yes.
And you have to sacrifice your ego, which I might have more of if it were a book, say.
Yes.
I can be difficult with editors, like, no, you're missing the point if you want to cut that.
Yeah.
With words that you're then taking on and bringing to life, maybe because I'm a first-time author and I'm learning, and I don't have much ego over my words here, so I'm very keen to sort of see how do you make this work?
Yes,
because I want to learn.
Yes,
how you bring dialogue to life, or why does that interaction work on that one not?
And why do you make that choice on that and not that, a different choice on that?
Yeah, exactly. and maybe lines I heard you bring out in a completely different way.
Yes.
So that's constantly surprising, and wonderful. It's a wonderful, precious experience to have, because you're then learning more about the craft, which I am attracted to.
Well, what's incredibly clear is you love actors. You like and that's not a given.
No, I do.
That's not a given.
No.
A lot of some writers.
No.
You really do love.
Yeah.
Love the
Well, I like playing.
Yes, you like playing.
As Giles said, we're all big kids. Well, I'm a big kid too.
Yes.
It's fun to have a play.
Yes, it's fun to have a play.